Welcome to the Black Script Storytellers. My name is Kevin Marable, and today our guest is a film producer, director, writer, and an author. He has his own production company and has worked on everything from major TV series to both major and independent films, and has written several books. His latest film, called Trapped in Temptation, is now available on Tubi and garnering a lot of attention, while his upcoming film Sin, starring Lou Gossett Jr., Sean Nelson, and Marquand Smith, is highly anticipated and coming soon. We have with us today none other than Luc Stephen. Luke, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Doing great.
Awesome, awesome. Well,
Glad to
Luke,
be here.
yes, very, very glad to have you on. Very happy to finally speak to you. I like to start every interview with a very simple question, but some might find it a little difficult to answer. Are you ready?
Okay.
That question is, who is Luc Stephen?
Who is Luc Stephen? Um, hmm. I think that Luc Stephen is a humble, always the student, always learning, and wanting to be a better man tomorrow than he is today.
I like that, man. I like that. We're all striving to be a better person tomorrow than we are today. So
Yes.
that's definitely a great answer for sure. Now, on top of all of that, Luke, you are a producer, director, writer, and an author, correct?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Okay.
Last time I checked, yeah.
Okay. Um, Let me ask, how did you get started in producing films?
I got started in producing films from I met a brother named Curtis Goon in 2006, and he was working on the project American Gangster for BET, and he brought me into the project, and then the following season he made me a consultant.
Right, and that so that was right around 2006, 2007. You
Yes,
BET American Gangster, uh,
yes,
which, like you were mentioning, in turn you became a consultant for the show.
yes.
Okay. Um, as far as consultants go, what was like your role in that position?
Just to help them secure the interviews of people they would be interviewing on that subject matter, or
Ah,
tell them who they should interview, or where they should go, or what areas.
okay,
Since
okay,
it was my neighborhood, so
right. And this is more so like a documentary style series, right? Where
yes,
lot
that was a documentary style series that BT ran. I believe they started airing in 2007.
got it. Okay. Now, according to your IMDb page, you have over 30 projects that you've had your hands in, with about
Wow.
15 current and about another 15 in pre-production, production, or post-production. But let's focus on three of your most recent films, which are Trapped in Temptation. What can we expect first and foremost about Trapped in Temptation for the folks who have not watched it?
Well, Trap and Temptation is. I'll shout out the writer and director, uh, 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 Adrian True Toscano. He wrote it. He penned it. Thing was, I can remember when I thought it was finished. I was
Mhm.
like, "This is good," and then he came back again and added some more spice to it. So, the thing is, once you're making movies, it's like you're supposed to get better and better each
Right,
time you go. You're supposed to look over, what did I do wrong? What can I do better? How was the writing? You're supposed to accept criticism as much
mhm,
as it hurts and bothers you in that moment.
yeah,
When you sit within yourself, you're supposed to absorb all that and take all that in. Because again, if you have veterans that can still take acting lessons. Like Kobe went to the gym 2 hours early, left 2 hours late. It's a
right,
reason for it's a reason for all that. Like, you don't just, of course, whatever you do, you feel is the greatest show on earth. Like,
mhm,
as you're supposed to as a creator. But you also got to let the reality kind of set in and kind of like Boxers look at other boxers before they fight.
Right.
Football teams look at tapes of the other team so they know how to play. So you create, but do you look at what's going on in the world? Now, I know some creators just create, they don't care what's going on in the world from a business standpoint. You
Hmm.
know, I don't have money, so I have to go from a business standpoint because I have to get investors. So I have to,
Yeah.
it has to be some type of ROI. Otherwise, if it's not no ROI, unless they're a movie fanatic or they have a self interest in whatever they're doing,
Hmm.
why are they going to give you some money? It has
Yeah.
to make sense.
So with you have Trapped in Temptation, and you
Hmm.
also have a new upcoming film called Sin,
Yes.
and then you also have another film on top of that called Heartbreak and Homicide, which you wrote.
No, well, I came up with the concept. So,
You came up.
Heartbreak and Homicide, we put together, me and Adrian put together maybe in a series called Frenemies.
Hmm.
So, we're busting our heads to see, like, hey, what does this audience like? Like, we're trying to reach this audience. Like, what is it that they like? What is it that they want?
Hmm.
Um, because we're not hitting it. It's not happening, and again, you try to get better. So, um, came to the conclusion we need better writing, which he brought to the table,
Hmm.
um, and we needed very good storylines of what people wanted to see, not what we want to see, what people want
Other
to see.
people, right?
Um,
Mhm.
so, Heartbreak and Homicide, he rewrote. Well, a woman named Cynthia, wrote the original script for the short film, which was called Obsession and Frenemies. That's
Okay.
also on Tubi. I believe it's the first chapter. So,
Hmm.
she wrote the first one. They took it, adapted it, and created the Heartbreak and Homicide script.
Okay.
Um,
And then
and
as
then we
far as
just put it
Sin
together.
goes,
Huh?
and I said, and as
Sin.
far as Sin goes, okay.
So Sin is Kwame Teague was the writer,
Hmm.
and Baini Nazir is the director.
Hmm.
The producers was myself, Dana Dane, hip hop
Yeah.
uh, legend, and another brother, Sean Baker, and um, Yui was the EP. Um, it's a great story, very suspenseful thriller, same as Trapped in Temptation. I like to involve myself with movies that has the audience talking about it when they're leaving. Like, you have to watch it till the end, otherwise you lost it.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, if you can't figure out what's happening, I have a smile on my face. If you can read what's happening before it happens, then it's not a good movie. Yeah, you want the audience engaged. You want the audience into that. You want the audience like, oh, this is good. Like, calling their girlfriends, talking to the screen.
Yeah.
Like, I knew it was you, you. That's when I like to be next to people, and I just watch them as they're watching. And as long as you don't see them going in their phone and doing this, then it's like, okay, they like this. This is good. But once they're in the phone and the conversation and their eyes is not glued, it's like, ah, I
Yeah.
lost them. Yeah.
No, it's always good to see the reaction of your audience, and get to see what it is that they like out of your films, what they dislike, how you can make things better, how you can put certain elements together in your next project and make a bigger and stronger film. You know what I'm saying? So it's always a growth process, even though you're going through um, each project and building upon your catalog.
I was saying about there's another project, Balling, which was put
Okay.
together with Chris Gotti and Rich Black. So
Okay.
I helped work on that project, which stars Lance Stevenson, Safari. I call it like a love and hip hop movie. It's like, but it looks, it's a dope movie. That should be dropping. That should drop before Sin, hopefully in the
Oh,
summertime.
okay. I did watch your documentary, Rebirth, the reinvention of
Oh, thank you.
Luc Stephen. Yes.
Yeah,
And I enjoyed
congrats.
it.
some guys from DC did that. They had approached me, and I was like, oh, I don't know, I ain't really did nothing. And he was like, are you kidding me? Like, yo, you're an inspiration to people. Come on, you gotta let us do it. And I was just like,
Wow.
because you know, I kind of you're not supposed to do this. Like, I measure success by finances.
Hmm.
So if I don't think I've reached that plateau, to me, it's like I need to do more. Like, this is not enough for the world to be like, I want to know who that is. Like, you have to have great bodies of work, not one great body. You have to have bodies for the
Right.
world, or really the peers of this industry, to really take you seriously.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know.
If you don't mind me asking, you said there was some guys from DC who filmed it. Do you know the names or the name of the
Well,
company?
J uh, J View. What it is, he worked on Born the Box with us.
Okay.
So he was the camera op on Born to Box. So that's from Curtis Spoon also, and his wife Asia. She was the director.
Oh,
Um, so we have a series called Born in Box that we worked on for 2 or 3 years, and Jay was the camera op. All that stuff is in the like his stuff is
in the credits.
not even in the credits, in the caption for
Okay, I
the
see.
thing on YouTube. So if you go there, you have his IG and you have the company's IG. So I made sure they put that in. So he convinced me, like, yeah, he said, I think that you would be good. So let's just do it because you came from this, that. So, you know, I think he did a good job. I think he did an awesome job.
No, it's really
What did you
good.
think of it?
I thought it was really good, and everybody who you brought on, or who Jay brought on to kind of talk about your career and everything that you've accomplished. I think everybody spoke on you excellently. They told your story through and through, and
Mm-hmm.
it gave me a little bit more insight as to who you are as a person, who you are as a film producer, and also
Mm-hmm.
like your work ethic and everything that you've been able to accomplish independently, and especially being 100% self-taught.
I
So
appreciate that.
I thought that was an excellent piece of content that you can utilize in
You
your
know,
catalog, and also be able to share as like a part of your resume.
yeah, someone said, you know, that's your calling card now. I said,
Yes,
seriously?
exactly.
And it was like, that's your calling card. And it was
Yes.
like, you know, and that was coming from Mr. Schoon. So he was just like, yo, man, it was just dope. I'm so proud of Jay. Like, Jay, he's like very smart. He put it together. So, you know, shout
Yeah.
out to him. You know, shout out to all the directors that I've worked with over the course of time. I've learned so much from each and every one of them, so that when I do have the opportunity to direct, I can do a very good job and get
Yeah.
better at it. Because it's not
Absolutely.
easy.
No, yeah, trust me, I know it's not easy, and it's a learn as you go experience. Every project that you're on, you're going to have different obstacles that you're going to face, and you got to figure out how to navigate through all of that and get the job done, get the film finished. So yeah, I trust me, I know it's not easy at all. Starting from the ground up, and then also when you're self-taught, you have to figure these things out, without any of that knowledge, and you just start to gain that knowledge as you go. So I think it's an interesting standpoint to be somebody who is who is started from scratch, so to speak, and has been able to elevate their career and be as successful as you have become, with all of the projects that you've been a part of, and several successful ones on Tubi that have garnered millions of views. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah, yeah. Well, when you put it that way, damn, I've been, I've been doing some work. Oh, you know, thank you. I mean, I appreciate that. When you, I don't know. I mean, when I'm doing it, I don't. I guess I don't look at it like that. I'm just trying to work because I'm trying to get to what I see, you know, and um, my aspirations are not small, so um,
Right.
you know, it's not like it's too much on my plate, and I don't. it's too much for me to finish eating. I just don't have enough on my plate, and I
Yeah,
just want some better food.
yeah. You want more, man. You
I
want more.
want more. I want
Every
more.
project you crave more, and you want to do something bigger and better. You want to continue to challenge yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, speaking of that, though, with larger aspirations or bigger aspirations, let me ask you, what for you? What's your ultimate goal in this? Like, where do you see yourself? Maybe in like the next 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years, either I would like my own platform,
Hmm.
or I would like to be able to make a project and then take it to the network, and they just take the project and they have to deal with this marketing, this, what the viewer wants, whatever, because they have control of all that, right?
Right.
So it's
Right.
like I want to work smarter. Like I work hard. I just want to start working smarter, where it's like, okay, here's the budget. This is what it's going to sell for.
Mhm.
Okay, if I can do two, three, four, five of these, six of
Yeah.
these a year, whatever it is, whatever that you know, God blesses me with, right?
Right.
I'm
Right.
able to do, and they're dope as F. I don't know if I can curse in here, but they're
Yeah.
dope
Yeah.
as F, though.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
Be yourself, man.
it has to be dope as fuck. If it ain't
Right.
dope as fuck, then I don't want to do it. I don't want to do half-ass.
Right.
Even though half-ass, some people have gotten rich off half-ass,
Let me
right?
tell you, man. Let me
And
tell you.
you know, it's like, so sometimes you second guess and you question yourself, like, why am I taking it to this extreme when I don't have to?
Hmm.
When Joe Blow doesn't take it to that extreme, and look, he's everything is in the black.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're in the red and you just can't climb out. But you look good, but it's like, wait a second, hold it. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm
So
gonna say something on that because oftentimes we do get hung up on comparing ourselves to the next person and or what they have and what they got going on. But I would always say at the end of the day, I would say quality would trump quantity, even though sometimes quantity
mm,
can surpass quality if you're as consistent. You can
yes,
definitely rise to the top with a lot of quantity, but quality stands the test of time. Um, so
yeah,
you shouldn't always focus on if this person half-assed their project, but they were able to make X amount of dollars in a little bit of time, but their project is not that great. Eventually, that project will fall flat and fizzle out.
mm,
Whereas your project that's is quality, it might last on a platform for like 5, 6, 10 years, 15 years. It might be considered a cult
that's true.
classic, a
That's
hood
true.
classic. You really never know. So at the end of the day, I feel like the quality is what should matter, not necessarily chasing the
So
short term.
let me flip it. So you
Yeah,
direct, produce, or you just
me.
interview?
No, so I write actually, and I have my own cameras and stuff too. I thought about dabbling into filmmaking myself, but I write, and I initially got into doing this as a
But
screenwriter.
but you're familiar with everything, though, of
Yeah,
course, right?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, what's your page max for the day?
Oh man, it's been a while, so I'll probably say like on a good day, I would say about 3 to 5 pages.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
from your answer, right, I
Hmm.
already know how you want things to look, because your answer nowadays would be 10 to 15.
Right. Right.
That's the difference right there.
It's got to be quality though.
That's what you wanted to look like? Okay.
Right.
This is what it's going to be cost.
Yeah.
If you say you don't like this, but you want to give me this budget, how do you want me to make this when it takes twice as long
Right.
to do this? Which means you have to pay twice as much money. If you
Right.
want to pay twice as much money, this is what you get.
Hmm.
But if you don't want to pay twice as much money, this is
Yeah.
what it's going to be.
Right. You got to figure out how to strip it down to make it to where it fits within the budget.
Yes.
and something that you can film within that the constraints of that budget. I definitely understand that, but to your just to your point with the half-assing, sometimes people will make some missteps and not really care to change or fix those missteps and just put it out anyway. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that's all I was kind of saying
No, no,
there.
no.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. It's
Mhm.
absolutely true.
But yeah, I trust me. I know it's not an easy process. It takes time, and you want to be meticulous so that way your project looks as polished as possible at the tail end. Otherwise, in post, you'll be scrambling trying to figure out how to put things together if you miss
Yeah,
something.
yeah. That's true. That's true.
Um, Now, as far as working on each one of your projects, let's just pick one. Let's just say a feature film. About how long does it take for you to film that entire project?
From start to finish,
Yeah. Hmm.
it's okay. Start to finish, the script has to get written. Might be 90 days, right?
Hmm.
Pre-production, it's going to be about 90 days. Shooting, depending on how many pages. Key would be 12 to 15 days, right?
Hmm.
But, you know, budget restraints, it might be 10 days, right?
Right.
Might be 9 to 10 days, but I'm figuring now where I would like to be at is the 12 to 15.
Hmm.
10 was 15, 16 days. There's a difference when you look at them, to me.
Right.
Um, there's a difference in those amount of days because you was doing 10 pages,
Hmm.
9 pages. They was doing 4 or 5 pages.
Right. Where you can take
Um,
your time and actually get the shots that you want
yeah,
and the takes that you want.
yeah.
Hmm.
Now, if it takes 2 weeks to
Hmm.
film,
Hmm.
right? So that's 6 months, 6.5 months, 3 months of for post production, which is 9.5 months.
Right. Yeah.
3 months to go live,
Yeah. I was
which
gonna say,
is we're talking about a year, and then 3 months to go live, and once you go live, it's about 4 to 6 months before you receive any money. So on an investment from the beginning to the end, it's about, I would tell someone, 18 months
wow.
before you start seeing your money back. If you follow those steps and you do it right and you come out it because you'll have money to do marketing and everything else,
Hmm.
you'll get a good chunk of your money.
Hmm.
You might not get it fully, but you'll get a good chunk of your money back within that 18 months.
Wow. And then from there, once you've received your return on investment, and say you're starting to turn a profit, at that point you can start to pour into your next project, into your next project.
Really, and I've been thinking about this lately, and um, you really need to be able to really put your foot into the door. You really need to be able to have enough money where you have 12 movies moving around.
Really?
Four, then
Wow.
another four, then another four. So this way, your cash is coming in like this. Because otherwise, you got
Hmm.
to wait 18 months. Then you're getting half the money. Then you're pouring it in. That's taking you, it's going to take you
Long time.
years,
Yeah, a long time.
years to get your machine going. But if you had the money, like, say, I don't know, 1.5, $2
Hmm.
million. dollars.
Hmm.
Now you can have your shit situated while some is out, some is getting. Now you're more or less in a line, and the money is just. That's just how. For me, that's just what I see.
No, that
For
makes
you to
sense.
really, for you to really make your mark.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you just, what's that thing with it's a meme where the guy has, I think they take it from, was it Hell Up in Harlem? And I think Aaron Hall has a machine gun and he's shooting, and then the other person has a gun that's just going pap. So
Right.
when you're doing one at a time, you're just going pap, and meanwhile this
Right.
guy's going
Throwing the machine gun. Yeah, it's just mad bullets.
and you're just going pap.
Yeah.
So for me looking, So like I look at some of the people that's doing their numbers on Tubi. They have a lot of content behind content behind content.
Right.
They're
Right.
moving.
Right. And it does take a while to get there for sure.
Yeah, it's not easy. You're not gonna be like, okay, we got one project, or you got four projects. Okay, you're still waiting for that to come back from that to do that, and you still don't have any money to keep working. You have to be able to keep working. So the only
Right.
way that you could do that is you have to have something in excess to be sitting there for you to pull off of, not for you to live, but for you to work off of,
Yeah.
while these other projects are doing what they do. Because it's not like, unless you're selling them.
Hmm.
So now imagine if you had them, and then as soon as they finished, now you do have instant cash, because as soon as the product is finished, you've sold it to the network, you had the money, now you can
Right.
go do what you want to do.
Right.
Other than that, it's a waiting game. So you
Yeah.
need, otherwise you'll dry up. There's going to be a time when you're sitting there dry.
Hmm.
Then what happens? You
Hmm.
have a cog in your machine.
Yeah.
So
It, wa-
hats off to you brothers and your sisters that have machines, because you've worked a long way towards getting there, and I have to respect you guys
mhm,
because you're
mhm.
making it work.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the film Cream for a second.
Okay,
You also mentioned this during your documentary, and
okay.
you said that it was a pivotal film for your career. Once you were able to take on larger budgets, you were able to go out and get bigger stars, bigger actors.
I'll break it down for you. I'm from New York,
Hmm.
right? I live in New York, right?
Right.
I'll give you an example. So everywhere, of course, you go through your things in DC and whatever. People's in it. You have your little competitions. You have your dislikes, right?
Hmm.
I would be somewhere. People from Detroit might be in there. They may be beefing with each other, but when they're together, they're going to acknowledge each other and they're going to clap for each other.
Hmm.
They don't do that up here. They don't do that up here. And
Hmm.
it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's not good. I just try to stay away from it and just be into a positive state. But
Yeah.
it's the one thing that's actually needed to make things work,
Right.
to
The,
me.
the
Now
support.
you have to listen to the haters, of course, because they get you better. And my motto is always work so hard that your haters have no choice but to fuck with you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and the only way that you can do that is you gotta do some dope shit. You can't be BSing. You gotta go hard. If you do some dope stuff, the money's gonna follow you.
Mm.
Like I tell people in a minute, like if my prices is up, it's to make your thing better. It's not to put money in my pocket. I'm
Right.
gonna make what you want me to make, not what I want to make. Because if I don't have the money to make what I want to make,
Mhm.
but I'll get there.
Yeah. So okay, so let me ask you, if you had the money to make what you want to make, what would that be?
That would be, um, damn, what's my man's name? The one that fights over the dog.
The one to fight. Oh, John Wick.
Be a John Wicker. If I had the money, oh, John Wick all day. John Wick, something like a Marvel,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, something that's going to make you last forever.
Right. So
You're part of history. You're a legacy.
yeah, legacy. Hmm. Yeah, for sure. You've also worked with Mike Tyson, Irv Gotti, uh,
Mm-hmm.
on a documentary that focuses on Kenneth Supreme McGriff.
His
Um,
case.
yeah, his overall and the overall justice system as well. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I guess you could say that.
yeah.
That'll be probably finished in the second edit this month.
Okay.
So it'll be out this year.
Okay.
Oh, it should be out this year. It's very powerful. It's very
Hmm.
powerful. Very powerful. Well, we spoke on Heartbreaking Homicide. Like we spoke on that a little bit, but that's it's starring Tiffany. Trending Tiff is a she's from the New Jersey area, a
Hmm.
fabulous talent. She's just dope, man. She is dope. She is dope. Um, but I know when we speaking about Cream, how did I get into that?
We did get into it. I was just asking as far as like
Because
you
I
had
mentioned
mentioned.
it in the documentary. Well, basically it was that's Dennis Reed. So Dennis Reed and Kwame gave me the opportunity to shoot Cream,
Mhm.
and dealing and meeting brothers and sisters from Detroit. They've been doing independent filming for a minute. I would say that they have it to a science,
Yeah.
um, because they shoot fast.
Hmm.
They have good storylines, and it's working. You
Hmm.
know, um, what made me kind of recognize Dennis is, I think after we shot Cream, we was talking, and my man at the time said, man, a little bit more money. And Dennis was like, no, you didn't need a little bit more money. And we was like, listen, yes, we would. And he was just like, listen, you're trying to figure it out.
Hmm.
My way already works. That was just a punch in the jaw for me, like, boom, yo, okay, you know what? Pay attention.
Hmm.
So, again, always be the student.
Hmm.
Don't always say you're the teacher unless you've successfully been a teacher.
Right.
You can't teach anyone and you're not successful at what you're doing. A
Hmm.
lot of us like to give people advice that doesn't work. They don't know if it works. They're just saying what they think works, and
Right.
then they want to experiment with. You're gonna like you're the guinea pig.
Hmm.
Do this. They don't know if it works. Yeah, his way works, and I started paying close attention to how they was doing what they was doing, because it was working.
Right.
The people were watching them. The people were talking about them. They were having audiences. They didn't have to go outside with audience wanted sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of times people have the greatest things of all time, and you look at it, but no one sees it.
You also have to learn how to market and promote it, get people in the seats, get people watching it, tune in on the streaming platforms.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not easy.
Yeah.
Everyone can't do it.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot of work, and you have to make sure that you master each one of those areas, and then once you have all of those areas working, then yeah, you have a fine-tuned machine, and it that takes time as well. I'm sure it took Dennis Reed a long time to get to where he's at as
Well,
well.
they've been doing plays and other stuff since 14, 13. They've been at it a minute, but
Yeah.
they say any overnight success had 10 years of work prior.
Right.
Before we find out about them, they've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah. It takes a while for people to take heed and pay attention as well.
Yes,
Yeah, you could be doing something, you could make a name for yourself in your region, but the moment that people start to pay attention outside of your region, outside of your area, that's when you know you're really doing something.
that's true. That's true.
Mhm, mhm. Now you've been in this business for a very long time,
I got 2 more years before my overnight success. You gotta give
but
me them 2 years.
listen though, you started in 2006, 2007 though, so you
No,
still
no.
got.
I did the first one and then nothing else happened after that. So I
That's
left it
okay.
alone.
Right? Okay, I understand. So there was a gap in between,
A
but
big gap.
even still, you have a
Okay.
easy career. But um just to your point as a producer, what, like, I would say, what knowledge have you learned as a producer that you now take with you on every project?
That this has to be the best thing possible.
Mhm.
Like every I's have to be dotted and T's have to be crossed. I cannot, like, I understand that you know, that you know we want to save, we want this, and it's like, nah, bro, I can't do that.
Hmm.
I had to turn down a project. I won't say who was from, in Atlanta for May. They brought it to me in April, which really is not enough time. The
Right.
script was dope. The project was dope. I would love to shoot for these people because I could probably shoot 2 or 3 movies, 4 movies a year.
Hmm.
But what they wanted me to do it with, I needed a little more. I didn't, and I told them, I said, "You're going to put me on center stage. I got to perform. I can't go on center stage and not perform. You're going to be talking about me, and I'm going to be talking about me. If they would have did this, I could have did this, and then they're going to say, yo, man, he said he could do this, and it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
So I had to leave it alone.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's not always the money because if it was a money grab, I would have just took the money
Right.
and did what I did. But it's like, nah, I can't do it with this, bro. It's
Yeah.
like I told him, I said, I can't do it good enough for
Hmm.
me. I know you don't want that. I can do some other stuff and get by. You want me to do that? I don't want to do that.
Right. Now
You
it's always good. It's always good to move with integrity as well. So yeah, that's
know?
that's that's always a good business practice. Some people don't look at it that way. Some people just take the money and run. They don't care how the project
I mean, listen,
ends.
you make mistakes as you go along. I've made mistakes. I've
Mhm.
made mistakes and I've had disasters and I've had fiascos, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you got to ask yourself at the end, I'm not doing that. If they ask me for twins, I got to find twins, not two people that look alike.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a difference. It's a difference.
Yeah. For sure. Now, what would you tell your younger self if you could go back in time? What would you tell your younger self that was actively looking to get into this business
Be
of film?
patient. Patience. Patience. You have to trust the process. You have to trust the journey. You have to have patience. Without patience, it's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Haste makes waste.
Haste makes waste. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do want to talk a little bit about the author side of your career
Okay.
because you've published several books as well.
Okay.
Uh, you have a book called Indie Filmmaking: The Real Way,
Yes.
which talks all about doing independent filmmaking. You're selling that currently on Amazon.com. Uh,
Yes.
you want to talk a little bit about that real quick?
So Keisha Green, I consult and Kwame consults on a magazine. I met her through Kwame, and
Hmm.
she does a independent film magazine, and she suggested I write a book. So she kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me, and I wrote it with her. But after I
Hmm.
wrote it with her, I said, "Damn, I could do that. I wasn't even trying."
Hmm.
So I did it. Then I did it, and then I had a conversation with True because he was writing them, and then I just started writing them. I just would get into a zone, and I just would, the fiction ones were short, and then the one that I really poured into was The Power Within.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the one I poured into.
That was going to be the next one I mentioned, which is all about self improvement. It's
Yes,
kind of a self help book. Kind of gives you guidance along the way how to deal with everyday life and how to move in everyday life. Right.
yes.
What brought you to write that?
Um. So at one time, I think I must have ballooned up to close to 200, and I wanted to start losing weight, and you want to include medication, and meditation, and you want to include prayer, and just kind of getting rid of the negativity.
Hmm.
So you have to bring power within yourself to stay clear of that, and it just was a formula that I tried to use myself to stay clear of the nonsense
Yeah.
and
No,
focus on what I'm doing.
that's good, man. That's good. And not everybody can write self improvement, self help books. And you used your own situation and turn it into something that could potentially help others.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's definitely commendable for sure.
I had fun writing them. I think sometimes I would go through something
Hmm.
and I would just write.
Hmm.
And I had a friend at the time, and I would just, what does this look like? Read this chapter, and I would just stay up writing. Get up at 2 in the morning, come downstairs, and because I have like a loft style apartment, I come downstairs
Hmm.
and start writing.
Yeah, I saw that in your documentary, a lot of your friends and your counterparts said that you never sleep.
Yeah,
So
I
you're
don't. Yeah,
constantly working. The mind's always working.
my mind is definitely working. If I may go to sleep early, 9 o'clock. I'm
Hmm.
gonna get up at 1 or 2. I'm gonna stay up. I'm gonna toss and turn. I might sleep. I might get back up. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Also, your fiction books. You have three fiction books, I believe. Uh,
Yes.
do you have any thought as to turning those fictional books into IP later that would be for film or television?
Yeah, I would have to extend them because they were short.
Okay.
So I would extend them. The other book that I like, but people don't like to talk about it, is the Keeping It Up book because men don't like to talk about them having sexual problems.
Okay.
Um, and what I found out is I had a few friends who had friends that passed away from the gas station pills. So, me and some of my older friends, we always talk about, hey, cayenne pepper, you got to use the raw eggs, you got to use peanut butter. We was always thinking of things that would help us sexually because as you get older, if you don't have a mate,
Hmm.
if you have a mate, that's one thing. You have a woman that you love, you have a queen that you love, then you're gonna stay with her. But if I'm gonna be attracted to a younger person,
Hmm.
um, physically until I get to know them,
Hmm.
um, I gotta be ready.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta be ready. You gotta stay ready.
Yeah, you have to stay ready. So another book, but a lot of like I may post that book and no one will say anything, but then I look at the stats and I see that it might be moving.
Yeah, yeah, and it's important to talk about these things, even if it may not necessarily get as much traffic or maybe not a lot of commentary online or whatever the case may be. There's still a lot of men, that early 40s, mid 40s, early 50s, 60s. It doesn't matter. This is a phase of life that we all go through, and it's important to talk about. And it's also important to talk about men's health because a lot of times men's health gets overlooked, and
Yes,
we tend to ignore a lot of things and don't go to the doctor and just don't take care of ourselves.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, it is important. So it is good that you have those books in mind, and I mean, keep writing them too, because at the end of the day, you never know who's paying attention, who who needs to hear this, who needs to read this, who needs to pick it up. Um, yeah, and before you know it, you might have a lengthy collection there, and making money there.
Well, hopefully, we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
All right. So let me ask you, what's next for Luke Stephen?
What's next? Hmm. Some more dope shit.
Or
I
dope shit.
can't. I can't. I can't say where it's coming from, how it's gonna come,
Uh-huh.
but it's gonna happen because like what the James Brown record say. Whatever I got to do, it got to be funky.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay. All right. Cool. And then I like to give my guests the final word, whether that be a piece of advice, a quote that they like, or words to live by. You can say one of the three, or you can say all three. It's up to you. I'll leave
I
that
don't
up to
know. I might just say something. Um, it's a song by Jay Z that I used to use as a. I don't know if I'm saying the right word, like a metaphor of something to go by. I don't know if I put
you.
that in the right perspective, but you had to crawl before you walk.
Yeah.
You got to walk before you run. But as soon as you start running, make sure you get ready to fly.
Mm.
That's
That's
what I
it,
have to
man.
give.
Yeah, that's it. That's it
I'm
right
trying
there.
to I'm trying to fly.
There we go. We all are trying to fly for
Yeah.
sure.
So someone out there, come on, man, let's fly.
There you go. There you go, man. Well, thank you so much, Luke. We definitely appreciate having you on. It's been a pleasure talking to you. It's been a pleasure learning more about yourself, your career, your business, everything that you got going on. Um, and now that we've had this, formal interview, you are a part of the family. Anytime if you need anything, have any questions or whatever, um, we're gonna be there, by your side, rooting you on every project that you got coming. Um, we now know who you are. You now know who we are. So you are now part of the Black Script family, and we thank you for coming on, being patient with us, and definitely enjoyed this interview, man. And I'm happy to see all the new projects that you got coming, and I'll be looking forward to everything else that you got coming in the near future. And I'll be looking for those big budget films pretty soon, man. Big budget films.
They're coming. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much.
Luc Stephen, everybody.
All right. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.